Before we start, I will give some explanation that now we are joining the Big 8 round evening session match between Hallyu team versus squad. And once again, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kira. I'm from Kantor Cabang Mataram, and I will be your moderator for today until this session ends. And also, I'm here with Mr. Sabil as my partner operator. And we would like to express our gratitude for today's session adjudicator. First adjudicator, Miss Asyraf Mursalina. Hello, ma'am. Thank you. And the second one, Miss Tati Denawati.
Hello.
And the third one, Mr. Sarman Palipadang.
Hello, everyone.
Okay,
Good evening.
thank you. And now we have two teams join us here tonight. Allow me to introduce the first team from affirmative called Team Hallyu. We have Miss Yovita Sari as first speaker.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Thank you. And Miss Fatin Mutiara as second speaker.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you. And Miss Nurul Anisa as a third speaker.
Present. Good morning. Sorry, good evening, everyone.
And also with their counselor, Miss Tika Marini. And next, we move to negative team, called themselves Squad. We have Mr. Diko Adriandi as a first speaker.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you. And Miss Fitrianisa as a second speaker.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
And Mr. Angga Primasanti as a third speaker.
Hello, good evening.
Thank you. And with their counselor, Miss Bella Rizky. Okay, before we start, allow me to read some rules for all participants. First, no participants are allowed to open their microphone. 2, team members have to rename themselves with format team member underscore first speaker, second speaker, and so. Third, team or their supporter are not allowed to show any sign of unit kerja masing-masing. 4, each team member join with their own Zoom. No allowed to join in single account. And the 5th, the operator may do necessary things to do sure that this session runs smoothly. So let's start our debate this evening. Our motion today, this house believes that Indonesia should start to implement gender-neutral public facility. The first chance of speaking come to first speaker of affirmative side. Are you ready, Miss Yovita? Okay. Your time begins when you start speaking.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, our honorable adjudicators and the audiences. As the first speaker of the affirmative team, I would like to define our motion tonight that Indonesia should start to implement gender-neutral public facilities. Gender-neutral means that it is suitable for, applicable to, or common to both male and female genders. Public facilities are essential facilities that need to be provided to everyone. Since the beginning, the government has explicitly guaranteed the equal rights and position of every citizen for men and women. In the 1945 Constitution, it has been stated in Article 27, Paragraph 1, the state guarantees equal rights for every citizen in law and government, decent work and livelihood in Article 27, Paragraph 2. Gender issues seems endless. Gender disparities still seem to occur in various fields of development. For example, in education, health, politics, government sector, and social life, including public facilities. Our house believes this motion will give positive impact to society because, first, it will reduce social inequality. Article 4 of Law Number 25 of 2009 states that public facilities are based on equal rights and equal treatment, meaning that public facilities may not discriminate between the accessors. both have the same right to be able to easily access public services. If this principle is violated, the potential for maladministration will very likely occur, such as discrimination, conflicts of interest, and partiality. Second, usage effectiveness. MRT, trains, buses, hospitals are forms of public facilities that currently apply gender differences in their use. Is it effective? Of course not. Based on article in 2022 by Context.id, it is said that the use of trans buses specifically for women is not effective. Then female passengers waited too long and were forced to board male buses to arrive at the destination in time. In addition, the next problem is if the passengers are family consisting of fathers, mothers, and children, they must be separated. Imagine how terrible it is. Similarly, in the case of the MRT providing carriage specifically for women, it is considered ineffective because they are used only at certain times, at 7 to 9 a.m. and 5 to 7 p.m. Instead of wasting budget and time just applying gender differences for public facilities, it would be better if the budget was channeled into more useful things, for example, education and health funds. So lastly, this process requires a strategy that places men and women in the same position, starting within social life, indeed our daily needs. Because of this reason, our house strongly believes that Indonesia should start to implement gender-neutral public facilities. Thank you.
Sorry for the timer that got stuck.
I'm sorry, did you say anything? Because we cannot really hear you.
Wait, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Did my voice clear enough? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for the affirmative team first speaker. Now we like to move to the negative house first speaker to Mr. Tiko. Your time ready when you are start speaking.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Our honorable adjudicator, ladies and gentlemen, we are from negative team would like to oppose what the affirmative house has been said. Let's talk about the definition first. According to University of California, gender-inclusive facility is a facility including but not limited to restrooms, showers, locker rooms, changing rooms usable by person of all gender identities. This house believes that gender-neutral public facilities should and cannot be implemented in Indonesia. Here's why. First, cultural and religious sensitivities. Indonesia is a diverse country with diverse cultural and religious beliefs. Implementing gender-neutral public facilities may clash with these conservative values and beliefs held by a significant portion of the population. It can be seen on the first principle of Pancasila, which is Ketuhanan Yang Maha Esa. As we all know, this is a unique characteristic of Indonesia that cannot be equated in every or any Western culture. A data stated by Minister of Home Affairs in 2021, only 0.03% of population in Indonesia do not register their religious belief. Seeing this data means implementation in gender-neutral facilities could be seen as an infringement on their religious freedoms and cultural practices. This can also lead to social tensions and sense of cultural oppression. Then the respecting cultural religion should be mandatory in maintaining social harmony. As this one is lined with Yanni 2020 said on his research, mutual respect and honor will create strong sense of bond and can minimize the occurrence of conflict between individual, group, and community. Second, privacy and safety concern. These gender-neutral facilities may raise privacy and safety concern, particularly for women. According to survey initiated by Koalisi Ruang Publik Aman on 2022, 4 out of 5 women have experienced sexual harassment in public spaces and facilities. This data show that the sexual harassment case is still high impactful in Indonesia, and it's not wise to deny the fact that implementing this kind of thing is still too premature to be executed in Indonesia. So, as we may have said, there's many more to be said than will be brought by our second speaker to oppose this policy, and this is why we from Quad Squad believe, or this house believes, that this gender-neutral facility should not be implemented and be executed in Indonesia because all of those reasons and many more to become. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diko. Now we move to the second speaker for Affirmative House. Ms. Fatin Ujara, your time begins when you start speaking.
Thank you for the opportunity. Let's start from the definition. Public facilities means a tool to expedite the execution of functions that are provided for public use. Public means regarding all, as a whole, not regarding to the specific or certain only. Just like the definition itself, public facilities are made to be used and facilitate all. Therefore, we believe that Indonesia should implement gender-neutral public facilities. Why is this gender-neutral public facilities important? One thing that need to be kept in mind that the public facilities is a utility or a tool that is needed by human beings regardless of the gender. First, in line with 1945 Constitution Article number 27 that stated the equality that is already delivered by our first speaker, implementing gender-neutral public facilities will help Indonesia to reduce social inequality that is highly demanded by people nowadays. Reducing social inequality could be done not only by doing something big, but it could be started by the small things. One of the ways is by creating equitable and inclusive public facilities. Why public facilities? Because it's something that everybody needs in our daily lives. By using gender-neutral public facilities, people will get to use to be more fair, more aware of other people's needs, regardless of their gender, and be more respectful, especially when using public facilities. The other thing that is also an advantage is implementing gender neutral makes the public facility usage more effective. For example, when people are waiting for a bus on a bus station that's dominated by males, then the bus that arrives is a bus that's dedicated to women. Then the number of people that could be commuted is less since no males could enter that bus. Imagine if it's a gender neutral bus, then all citizens could use it effectively based on the needs and based on the condition at that time. Bigger advantage could be achieved by implementing gender-neutral public facilities that is cost effectiveness. Public facilities are built by the government and it needs budget allocation that comes from the government budget. Public facilities that are gender-based definitely need more quantity and space. Gender-neutral public facilities make the usage more effective without neglecting the community needs. Moreover, the government could be more focused on the quality, not only the quantity. The state budget of Indonesia for housing and public facilities on 2023, that is 31.7 trillion rupiahs, could be reduced and can be allocated to other sectors that are more critical for the community or sectors that could be more supported, such as environment or tourism that has a less state budget. Therefore, by implementing gender-neutral public facilities will support the use of the state budget to be more effective and useful for our society. All the things I mentioned before are strong points that we stand, and we believe that Indonesia should start to implement gender-neutral public facilities. Thank you.
Your time is up. Wow, okay, thank you. Now we move to the second speaker for negative team.
Okay.
Ms. Fitri.
Okay. Thanks for the time. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Respond to the issue of equality conveyed by the opposition team and about equality in public facilities, that the provision of special service for men and women does not mean differentiating between men and women, but rather refers to making it easier for men and women to access service according to their needs and abilities. This is in line with FND's research 2020. And now I will deliver the other factor that has been stated by our first speaker of why we should not implement the gender neutral facilities. The third point is practicality and cost. Implementing gender-neutral facilities would require significant change to existing infrastructure, including renovation or building new facilities. This will cost more and urgent facilities will be ignored. According to school board document of Montgomery County, it is said that the average cost to renovate an existing restroom with single occupancy bedroom is about $25,000. But all gender configuration are estimated to cost up to $40,000 and $50,000 per restroom. So that will be cost that needs to be considered by the government. And we run to the next point. The fourth point is inclusivity through alternative measure. We said about this point briefly before. Rather than implementing gender-neutral facilities, Indonesia can create inclusivity through alternative measure. For example, providing more accessible facilities for people with disabilities, creating family-friendly space, or establish dedicated facilities for individuals who don't identify within the traditional gender binary. This measure can address the need of marginalized group without compromising the privacy and safety concern associated with gender-neutral facilities. Based on a survey by UIN Jambi, there are only 48% of public facilities that have support for disabilities. This is more pressing and important issue that we need to address about public facilities. In the end, we strongly believe that Indonesia should not implement gender-neutral public facilities because we have consideration like culture and religious sensitive, privacy and safety concern, cost and inclusivity of alternative measure. I think it's enough and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fitria. Now we move to the third speaker from Affirmative House, Ms. Nurul. Your time begin. Start speaking.
With all due respect, we firmly uphold our opinion that Indonesia should start implementing gender-neutral public facilities. Here is the reasons. Public facilities such as public transportation, sports centers, hospital, toilets, places of worship, schools, and others, nearly all the mentioned public facilities, about 70% of them implement gender-neutral usage. The exception is toilets, as in our daily lives, we often encounter separate male and female restroom. If other sectors of public facilities can implement gender equality, why can't public toilets? Gender-neutral restroom would indeed be beneficial for fathers taking care of their daughters or mothers caring for their sons. Additionally, individuals with disabilities who have caregivers of different gender to assist them in restroom may also prefer gender-neutral facilities. It's important to recognize that the traditional separation of restroom by gender can create challenges and limitations for certain individuals and situations. Gender-neutral restroom provide an inclusive and accommodating environment for diverse needs and caregiving responsibilities. By implementing gender facilities, we can promote equal access and inclusivity for everyone, regardless of gender or specific circumstance. Furthermore, regarding the effectiveness of usage, the first and second speakers have explained that the effectiveness usage in trains and buses. Here, I will elaborate on public facilities, specifically hospitals. What if patients in rooms in hospital that implement gender-neutral facilities and are separated based on gender? For example, the rooms in women's pavilion are full, and the only available rooms are in the men's pavilion. If left unchanged, it will lead to a backlog in the waiting list for inpatient care. In addition, this will impact Indonesia's national health insurance, BPJS Kesehatan, as there will be an increase in complaints related to the case. Also, about the cost effectiveness, Chairperson of BPK, Ismayatun, reported that the budget deficit of APBN reached 6.14% in 2020, 4.57% in 2021, and 2.38% in 2022. Based on the data from the Ministry of Finance, despite the declining deficit figures in the past 3 years, Indonesia still experiences a deficit. If public facilities that were previously constructed separately are now combined into one with improved quality, it can reduce costs. This would inevitably lead to a reduction in construction expenses, procurement of equipment and infrastructure, as well as maintenance costs for these facilities. Considering this, we believe that Indonesia should implement gender-neutral public facilities because the realized budget will be reduced compared to before, and the funds can be allocated to other sectors that contribute to the deficit, such as economy and healthcare. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we move to the negative house. Third speaker, Mr. Angga. Your time begins when you want to start speaking.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, our honorable adjudicators. Our negative team has been so consistent on why we oppose this motion. Instead, the affirmative team said some points that is not really reliable about the arguments. But let me address some of their points first before going to our arguments. The first, the affirmative team, it was always just say about the definition about the motion on and on, but they don't say firmly why Indonesia should implement this policy, why we should start to implement gender-neutral public facilities. They just go and on with the definition. The point is Indonesia. We're living in a country with a culture. We're living in a country with a religious belief that we keep. So we got to be consistent with our principle here. And by doing this policy, it's like the affirmative team always say about the example with MRT. Why every single facilities can be combined to be one facilities, including men and women, but why toilet not combined? But they don't provide data. We said that before, said by our first speaker, that the sexual harassment data collected from the survey by Koalisi Ruang Publik Aman on 2022, it's rather a recent survey. So it can be evident of how our sexual harassment case is still so high. Our first speaker said that 4 out of 5 women has experienced sexual harassment. And why risk it? Why we risk on something a bigger risk? The first is the risk of social and cultural conflicts. We can be sure that our majority of people in Indonesia will oppose this policy based on their religious belief, as stated by our first speaker. And the second, why risk it with the still high level of sexual harassment that we provide the data? The data is from Indonesia. We elaborate it again. We implement this in our country, in Indonesia, that have culture and have a background of religious belief. So that's why we think that implementing the gender-neutral public facilities doesn't really have positive impact on the society, yet it will just bring more risk and trouble to our society. That's why this house believes that we should not, Indonesia should not start to implement the gender-neutral public facilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Angga. And thank you for both 6 speakers. Now we are entering the conclusion part. The first team that delivered their conclusion goes to the negative team and replied by affirmative team. The negative team, when you are ready, your time begin. Start speaking.
Thank you. As stated by previous speakers, it is clear that this motion should not be continued and going upward to the higher level because there are far more risks and harm that can afloat when it is applied. We should be more concerned on people who needs more this kind of help, such as disabled persons or elder who still are not getting enough attention. Implementing this not only will bring chaos and disapproval from many sides, but also will give a great security and criminal impact for women, especially in big cities where the population is dense and the criminal rate is high. We don't want that, right? So as stated before, that the sexual harassment is already high, and this can potentially lead to higher crime rates. Then this will also hit our cultural religion aspect, where local courtesy is what makes Indonesia famous, right? So we don't want them to get rid by some Western lifestyle. So why dampening our distinctive and cultural habit when implementing this kind of gender neutral public facilities doesn't have really significant positive impact to the society? We are not trying to push aside this gender equality thing because it's completely different thing. It's not really what we meant to be, because we don't want to get rid of it. We want to protect women as it is, as we mentioned under the previous speaker. So this is why this house believes that gender neutral facility should not be implemented in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diko. Now then, for the affirmative side, your time begins when you start speaking.
We strongly disagree because we have given the data. Here's the conclusion. Need to be noted that crime, including harassment, can happen anywhere. Who can guarantee that harassment will decrease after gender differentiated public facilities exist? Crime or harassment can occur not only when public facilities are used. Based on survey from the Safe Public Space Coalition in the Power Youth program in 2022, the top 5 locations where sexual harassment occurs most offline are public spaces such as street, 70%, residential areas, 26%, public transportation, including facilities and infrastructure, 23%, shops, malls, and shopping centers, 14%, and workplaces, 12%. In the top 5, public facilities are only mentioned as public transportation in the third place, where the number of presentation differs greatly from the first order, namely 47%. This indicates that crime can occur anywhere, regardless of space and time. It's not only specified that it will occur in public facilities. Even in your own home, there is possibility of crime or harassment. Gender differentiated public facilities is not the only way to reduce criminality. Once again, because of this reason, our house believes that Indonesia starts to implement gender neutral public facilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Yovita. Now the debate is over. Thank you for both team. It's time to let our adjudicator have to breakout room and discuss this debate session. And we will come back in a few minutes.
Alhamdulillah. Mbak Hallyu. How are you?
Ya, baik Kak.
Mas Angga mau adu pantun, po?
Gak ada pantun.
Soto babat, soto batok.
Cakep.
Cakep.
Ngeri toh.
Nggak ngerti ya Mbak. Mas Diko mau suka gitu kadang.
Solo Yogyakarta, Mas.
Cakep.
Lulu, gak bahaya ta?
Korban TikTok.
Aduh ya Allah.
Hallyu ngambil inspirasi dari Hallyu apa ada arti lain?
Hallyu dari Hallyu Wave. Kebetulan kita semua penggemar Korea.
Oh, apa? Hamsahamnida. Gitu nggak sih? Untung debatnya nggak bahasa Korea deh.
Thailand aja. Hallyu.
Itu Cina Mas.
Oh gitu. Kempai hap.
Nah itu Thailand. Kok kita ngangkat poin agama nggak di reboot sih?
Terlalu sensitif.
Udah nyiapin padahal biasanya kan di ini ya. Jadi bingung ngomong apa deh. Seperti biasa Mas Diko mau sampai sama penonton Mas.
Ngelak Mas.
Okay, now our discussion adjudicator have already been decided, and I would like to invite Miss Asyraf Mursalina to giving their comment first.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank you, the both teams, because you had already present a very enjoyable debate. This debate is, I can say that this is a very high quality debate, full of information with facts and data, which is, I think the both of the team do their homeworks very well. So if you are going to a debate, the first thing that you have to do is gather as much as possible information upon the motions. Okay, so usually in a debate competitions, the motions are released 1 month prior to the competition, so that all the teams that is going to join this competition will have enough time to do their homework, which is doing the research. Now, if you debate based on valid information supported by adequate data, the debate will be very much enjoyable because by doing so, both perspectives that you are suggested, whether you are affirmative or negative, it will become make sense. Okay, so that is what I congratulate to both of the team in these sessions of debate. So very good debate. Thank you. I was enjoying the debate very much. The affirmative house have the advantage of setting the definitions of the motions. That is their job and also their advantage, actually, because by doing so, they determine where these debates are going to flow. Okay. Now, the first speaker of the affirmative house had done a very good job. While we talk about neutral general public facility, you will suddenly you will somehow jump into conclusion that we are going to talk about gender equality, not only about gender equality, but also about the current issue of the queer community. But they limit that. They know if they are going to fight about that matters, they are going to be in doom. So they try to make a clear boundary that they're not going to talk about that. They are going to talk about how a public facility should not be classified by whether it is only for man and woman. The only two gender, that is no question about it. And then the second speakers elaborate the definitions very well. She come out with a lot of example and also data, which is, I think it is very nice. And the third speaker also rebut the negative theme and emphasize their standing. So up till the end of the debate, the affirmative house is very consistent with their idea. I thought it was going to be a debate about the definition, because when the first speaker come up with his speech, he already said that I am opposing your definition. Unfortunately, even though you're not agree with their definition, but you respond to their case. And that is what happened to the second speaker, the third speaker of the negative house. It was very good that you opposed the definition. Me and also Miss Dena, we predict that it's going to be a definitions fight. But then again, even though you are not agree with them, you go with that flow. So sometimes that is the disadvantages of being the negative house. When you are disagree with the motions definitions, you should stick with that. Okay. So that is my what do you call it? That is my command as your educators. But both of the teams are awesome. You do your homework very well, and these sessions by far is very enjoyable sessions I've ever been to. The most enjoyable session I've ever been to. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we move to the next adjudicator, Mr. Sarman Palipadang.
Well, how to say you're amazing is really you guys, the both of them is really amazing. I think this debate will be a boring debate because this issue is like a sensitive issue for us, and yeah, some of the debaters already like explained about this issue, but all the team deliver very well about their opinion, their data, and I really love the data. I don't have any suggestion about the technique of the debate because Ms. Lily already explained very well with this debate, and I totally blown away with this debate, and I'm totally agree with what Ms. Lily say. This is like enjoyable debate because both of the team is really like yeah, really strong on the affirmative, on all the negative also strong. But top 8 is it's not hard to be in the top 8, and you guys already here, and I want to congratulate you guys. So whoever wins of the debate, it doesn't matter for like whoever win, you keep up the good work, and for the lose team, this is not a end way for you. Just keep up the good work, and maybe we can see you in the next step, or maybe next year. Maybe that's all for us. Mr. Kira, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sarman. Now for the last adjudicator and also announce our winner today. Dena?
Thank you, Kira. And okay, as previous adjudicators already mentioned, you have done a really good job. You turn hard motions into an interesting and enjoyable debate. And you have done really good. You have done really well on the homework. You really did the ARE, the assertiveness, assertions, reasoning, and evidences. You all you had all elaborated on that, so it was really good. However, I would like to remind you that to win a debate, you need to do 2 things. One, you have to make sure that the adjudicators understood or aware of your strengths to make yourself to make your team looks really strong. And the second one is to ensure the adjudicators knows the weaknesses of your opponents. And that's where rebuttal comes. So in rebuttal is a really important part of the debate. So you have to really pay attention to your opponents, be it affirmative side or negative side. What are the weaknesses? What did they mention this, or did their evidences too weak? Is there any loopholes? As Bu Asyraf already said, okay, we expect it's a definitional debate because you, as the first speaker of the Quad Squad, also mentions, no, we challenge your definitions. However, that expectations kind of evaporate on the second speaker and the third speakers, because you didn't elaborate on your challenges. If that happens,
probably you could really make a really even more interesting debates, because then the adjudicators would decide which definitions are stronger than the others. So if you follow through with your challenges. And I would also like to mention that in rebuttals or in closing speech, or you need to do your teamwork. I mean, you have to make sure that your team members do not repeat what the others said. It's not a forbidden thing. Just make sure that you do your time management really well.
Beneran ya? Nonton. Aku juga dong. Ditraktir. Satu traktir satu traktir semuanya. Biar
Excuse me.
Okay. So anyway, if your team member only emphasize that is really good. However, if you repeat the same thing, that could waste your time management. Well, anyway, it was really a really enjoyable debate. All the adjudicators agree that the best speaker goes to the second speaker of the affirmative side of the House. I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but congratulations. It was a really elaborate, very well elaborated arguments supported by evidences, data, and also you don't, I mean, like, you straight to the point. It was really, really good. And the winner of this debate, it was unanimous decisions. I mean, no split decisions or no different decision between the adjudicators. We would like to announce the winner of tonight's debate as the affirmative side of the House. Congratulations, Hallyu.
Congratulations to the affirmative House Hallyu team for winning this session, and also congratulations to the second speaker, Miss Fatin, for coming to the speaker, and also
Thank you.
I would like to congratulations to the negative House squad. You guys already made it to the big 8, and also thank you for everyone joining our today's match. Thank you for our adjudicator, team counselor, and supporter. And also see you tomorrow for another round of big. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you, adjudicators.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.
Keren.
Go Hallyu.